Welcome to Talking with Colerain Township. I'm Government Programming Coordinator at Waycross Community Media, Dana Gagnon, and I have here in the studio with me Assistant Township Administrator Jeff Weckback, but also our brand new Planning and Zoning Director, Mike Ionna. Thank you so much for coming into the studio so we could get a chance to meet you today.
Thank you so much, Dana. It's good to be here.
That's great. Yeah. So let me start with you, Jeff. You just went through a process to find a new planning and zoning director that would be a good match for Colerain Township.
Yep.
You've had a lot going on in the past year, really a lot going on in the zoning department.
Sure.
So what kind of process did you go through to find the right person?
Yeah, so with any job that we have come up, one of the first things that we really do is we try to identify what the right fit is going to be. So we kind of internally brainstorm what that looks like, what that might feel like, and then we start our process. So in this case, we posted the job online. We reached out to a couple of different professional organizations who, for free of charge, post jobs for us, which is great. So actually, we had the American Planning Association, Ohio chapter, and then Center for Local Government. We post a lot of jobs and different things like that. And so then we started accepting applications. We found Mike. We did interviews. He met with the team. He seemed like the right guy for the job. And so here we are today. So it was kind of a quick process, but I think it went really well.
So Mike, when you saw that posting, what about it caught your attention and made you think, I need to put in, that's the right place for me?
Yeah, so I was alerted to the posting by a colleague, and I know some of the players in Colerain Township. I know what's going on. I've seen some of the plans that they're working on, and knowing the leadership at Colerain Township was something that really attracted me to the position.
Excellent.
So it's a very exciting opportunity.
So what kind of background do you come from?
So I've got over 13 years of experience in all forms of planning. I spent several years working on current and long-range planning in Northern Kentucky and Indiana. Most recently, I served as a senior planner and acting director at the city of Hamilton, where I did a lot of work with their Spooky Nook Sports Complex, which is a couple $100 million project that's coming to town. I wrote a lot of their zoning ordinance for that project. We did a lot of updates to their commercial design guidelines. So I've, over 13 years, I've pretty much run the full gamut of planning, zoning, and code enforcement experience.
That's fantastic. And I know that sports complex coming to Hamilton is a really big project. So
yeah, it's going to be transformational. One of the great things was working to actually get the project into the city. But the fun part was really seeing, what the economic multiplier and spin-off projects would be associated with, landing that project. So very exciting.
So that makes me think of all these different places that you have been. Is there one project that you got to work on that stands out in your mind as, I'm so glad I got to do that?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of projects that I've worked on over the years, and it's really hard to pick one. But one of the most recent one, and it's kind of not one of the more attractive development-related projects, but it's a long-range planning project, and it was the latest update to the Hamilton Comprehensive Plan. It's called Plan Hamilton. It actually just won a Ohio State Planning Award as one of the best comprehensive plans for its class. So very exciting project to work on. We worked with a consultant as well as my staff. It was a couple-year process. We worked really hard to engage the public, and it turned out to be a really great document. One of the things I liked about it is that we were able to focus on strategies that are really like action-oriented versus a lot of comp plans where you do this really big book and then it sits on a shelf and it collects dust, and then you dust it off in 10 years, and then you say, well, what did we do or didn't do? What I really liked about it is that we made it a very action-oriented plan that we would update every year, see what was working, see what wasn't. And it really became like a living document. So really exciting to work on that.
And that, as I'm listening to this, sounds very in sync with what Colerain Township has been doing with its strategic planning.
Yes.
Is making sure that you have something current that you're consistently using, and it's not just something that, well, we made this and it's a great binder and we put it on the shelf. So it sounds like a really good connection.
Absolutely.
With that. That's really good for you to hear when you're interviewing someone saying, I like this connection. What are the things that you're looking forward to, Mike, now that you're in Colerain?
Yeah, well, in that same vein as the last question,
Yeah.
I really am excited to dig into the comprehensive plan, see what we can do. We're taking OKI's best practice approach to accomplishing our comp plan. It's got 11 different elements, and we've kind of started on that. I'm looking to, I'm coming in a little midstream, which is exciting, but there are some challenges to coming into a process midstream. But we've got great leadership at the city. We've got a great staff. And I'm looking forward to really coming in, taking the reins, seeing what we can do, and really taking the plan and making it something that's more action-oriented, that will really serve as the generational roadmap for the community. And I look forward to kind of working with the community again, like I said before, as a living document, to where each year maybe there's a certain time of the year where we go and look at the plan and update it. So in that way, it's kind of like serves as the pulse of the community for what they want to see, what the important things are, they feel are important for their quality of life and things like that.
So when we talk about the Planning and Zoning Office, what kind of tasks fall under that heading so residents know this is what we should go to you for?
Good question. Yeah, so we cover 3 primary functions: long-range planning, current planning, and code enforcement. The long-range planning is kind of like what I talked about with the comprehensive plan. It's very forward-thinking, where we evaluate, where the township wants to be, not today, but in the future, where we want to be in 5 years, maybe 10 years, or 15 years. Sometimes long-range planning also involves looking at a specific area of the township and saying, hey, what maybe could we do here as far as land use, capital improvements? How can we coordinate infrastructure or transportation in order to create the type of development that we want to see here? So that's long-range planning. The current planning is what I like to say, it's where the rubber meets the road. So we do the long-range planning to kind of find out where we want to be. And the current planning are the regulations that kind of create the development that we want to see. So that's kind of the day-to-day permitting stuff or development review. So when a development comes in, we're looking at, does this development meet our zoning regulations, which reinforce that the long-range vision for the community. Again, current planning deals with looking at each development individually. So it's commercial development, it's residential development, and things like that. The third thing that we deal with is code enforcement. The big thing with code enforcement is making sure that we maintain and enforce, a standard of upkeep or quality of life throughout our community, whether it's a commercial area, residential area. A lot of critical functions for the township. Very exciting work.
That's fantastic. And I know you're going to be explaining all these again, over and over again at upcoming trustee meetings and zoning meetings, but this is really helpful to just take a minute and just in a quiet setting get a chance to talk about it a little, let people get to meet you a little bit.
Yeah, great.
When you went through, what were some things that you were really excited about that you were going to get by hiring Mike here?
Sure. Yeah, actually, one of the things that really stood out about Mike that we really appreciated was that he's had some experience leading a team, because we don't get anything done alone here at Colerain Township. While we're lean staff, we have to be able to help those on our team and in our organization have the tools to get things done. Hamilton is a very similar size to Colerain Township, which helps out a lot. So, I'm sure he's dealt with 60,000+ residents before, and they're not immune to some of the same issues that Colerain faces, especially from a code enforcement standpoint. And so he's got a mix, and that's what we need, is a mix of a background to know how to move things forward so that we can have the best Colerain Township possible.
That's fantastic. So you have only been here, you just started a few days ago. Pretty
32
much.
hours in.
Oh, you're 32 hours in. So at the time of this recording, we've got 32 hours on the job, and we're already quizzing you, and you are answering all sorts of questions about the department. So thank you very much for that. In those 32 hours, what strikes you as exciting new projects? What are you really looking forward to getting your teeth into?
Oh, I can't wait to get into the comp plan. So we've got the comprehensive plan coming up. Again, as I stated before, that is like one of the big projects that we're working on. We've got a lot of improvements that we're looking at along Colerain Avenue. We've got a plan for that. So I'm looking at ways to make that happen. The Northgate Mall, what what great potential, for redevelopment. There's a lot going on at that intersection that's happened, that's been very positive over the years, but there is so much more potential there. The Main Street Trail is just a small thing that we're kind of working on. The trajectory of Colerain Township's really starting to tick up. We've got the right people in the right seats. So that's, again, something that kind of really drew me here. But it's just kind of those small incremental projects that maybe don't get a lot of traction, or maybe they don't get a lot of they don't get a lot of traction with the local media or something like that. But there's just a lot of small little things that are happening that are going to put us in place for some of that really big catalytic change. So there's just so much in the pipeline right now. It's just exciting to be here.
Anything in particular that you can let us in on, or are we just going to discover it as
Well,
it all
we've got a
comes
couple
up?
new restaurants that are coming in. They haven't quite officially submitted, but nothing super big right now.
Okay.
But there's a lot of plans in the work. We've got a big project, a beautification project that we're working on, that we're starting to work with a consultant on out at the interchange on 275 in Colerain, or 27. Another really interesting project that we've been working on that we're about to roll out is our Main Street Trail. And what's really neat about that is it's a trail that connects all of the township's assets. And I think, Jeff, maybe a little bit more about each of those pieces that it connects.
Sure.
It's a really great project.
Yeah, what's really exciting about it is we've had this infrastructure in place for quite a while, but we've never really called it out. So you can walk, and I think it's about a 2.5 mile walk from Clippard Park all the way to Colerain High School on sidewalks. Connects you through Stone Creek, then down to the administration building, over to Colerain Park. And so it's really neat that this has always been there. And so why not highlight it, brand it, and roll it out? So
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's one segment that kind of the connection to Stone Creek that comes through the woods. It's just a really
nice.
picturesque, beautiful stroll. Really neat. It's going to be well signed. We did a great job with the graphics. It's really sharp. So
That's
super
nice.
excited for that.
That helps. So many times a resident is out somewhere and, this looks like a nice spot. What is this? Is this a place I can be? And something that simple, signage, can make it something that people realize is there and take advantage of, and are more likely to use it because they know this is really there for them to use.
Yeah.
So
Becomes a
that's
thing
really
to do,
nice.
a thing to promote. So
Absolutely.
we certainly want to promote it once we get it out. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in and giving us a chance to meet you. Is there anything else you want to make sure the residents of Colerain know about you, whether it's related to planning or anything else?
Yeah, certainly. Great question. Yeah, so, I just want to say it's great to be here. Again, one of the things that drew me to Colerain was the passion that the city administration showed and all the different department heads had for, including the trustees, that had for, making Colerain the best it can be. Since I've been on the job, I've been to one community meeting, but I've also interacted with a handful of residents, a good amount. And, one of the other things that I really liked was the passion that each of these residents had to really get out there and make Colerain the best it can be. So to me, that is really exciting. There's a lot of great bones here. There's a lot of great projects that are happening. And, I'm just really excited to be part of the next chapters of success in Colerain. So
I'm
really great
looking
to be
forward.
here.
I'm hearing a lot of good stuff that I feel like Waycross is going to be out there filming, or you're going to be talking about it in here at the next time.
Yeah, certainly. We'd
I
love
w-
to come back and do some updates on things.
Absolutely. It
Yeah,
sounds like there's
great.
going to be a lot of good stuff to update.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely have to talk more about that. I will say that all the details of things going on in Colerain Township, you can find them on the Colerain Township website. The calendar is there. Information about events are there. Information about the zoning and planning department are there. Also, make sure you sign up for Circle. Those are emails that come to you with all the details of what's coming up in Colerain Township, and you even pick what day they come to your email box, which is kind of nice. So make sure you take advantage of those resources, as well as Waycross Community Media. As you know, we're there filming every trustees meeting. We are streaming them live. You can watch them online or on cable, and you can watch them afterwards online as well, which of course I have to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. So thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
I really appreciate
It's
it.
a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Tune in next time for Talking with Colerain Township.